Hey everyone, this is Radian, and I'm going to be taking this Sytrus tutorial series piece by piece, so I'll start off with the main settings window, then I'll do the operators, then the filters, then the effects, each with their own parts. So this is the main settings window. It's the tab that has the controls that change the entire synth, the global settings, I guess. So for example, your master level will turn up or down the signal, make it loud, or make it not have any sound at all. I'm usually turning Sytrus down because it's a kind of a loud synth. Master LFO level. So what this does, if you have an LFO, let me just open up an LFO. You have it going up max amplitude, then going negative amplitude. Master LFO level is on by default, but if you bring it down to the middle, then your LFOs won't have any effect. They'll be completely level, and the middle, by the way, is off. So this is maximum effect, no effect in the middle. Then you have your negative max, which is the same, but flipped. This will invert it, so now we have our flipped LFO going down first instead of up, if that makes any sense, and then going to the middle and then up. Master pitch. So a lot of people like using Sytrus for basses. You turn it down, makes it a lot easier to get basses. Volume envelope offset. So this will only have an effect if you have a volume envelope active. So here we have, this will turn the attack of the envelopes down. This will make the attacks way too long. Short decay, so that would be from here to the sustain point, which you set by right-clicking a point and then selecting sustain / loop end. Sustain, making the sustain very basically max. No sustain. No release, very long release. That's what the volume offset knobs here do. And just a really loud vehicle outside my house. Sorry, I got sidetracked. Okay. This is basically the same as the filter offset sliders over here. So your cutoffs, basically, where your low pass envelope takes all the sound out. No attack, lots of attack. Same thing basically as over here, but now it's applying the same effect to the cutoff envelopes in the filter section. I don't really use these very much. You can use them if you want. Like, I'm not stopping you from using anything in Sytrus really, but yeah. Unison. So basically, Unison right now, it's at one voice, it's off. Unison is basically a duplication of the signal, giving us what we would call more voices. So Sytrus allows you to have 9 voices, which is basically 9 copies of the signal. And this eats up a lot of CPU. If you're playing something like chords especially, that's like, we'll say 3 notes times 9, that's 27. That's a lot of numbers, you know. I can't even count that high. So you can save a little bit of CPU if you want by pressing this Unison for oscillators only. You can see in the top left corner those pointers. If you hover over anything with your mouse, it'll tell you what that parameter is. So instead of having, let's say, 9 voices of Unison going into 9 sets of filters, going into 9 sets of effects, this oscillator Unison mode will have 9 voices of Unison going into 1 set of filters and 1 effects module. It saves a little bit of CPU. It does change the sound a little bit, but it saves CPU. That's its main purpose. Panning, Unison panning will adjust the amount of stereo width your Unison has. So this is full stereo width at 100%, no stereo. So it's basically a mono Unison. Unison volume. So this will control the level that the Unison is at. So this is fully audible, fully off. I don't know why you would have 9 voices of Unison and have them off. You can do that if you want. Unison pitch will control the detune of each voice. So if you have one voice at, let's say, ratio of 2, this is the default pitch for the operators in Sytrus. Unison pitch will control how far away in pitch the other operators are from your original voice. So no detune, they'll be basically at 2. Very detuned, the range will be greater. You can control the range with this knob. That's Unison pitch. Sublevel, what this does is it introduces another set of Unison voices an octave below than your original voice. So at 100%, it's only the sub voices. Your sub voices are the only audible ones. At 50-50, it's half of these 9 voices and half of your low sub voices. And at 0, it's completely off. This uses even more. Uses even more CPU, and Unison is taking me a lot of CPU just to talk. Frick. Okay, so Unison phase. This will control the phase differences of all the voices. So 0 phase, they'll all start at the same point. Unison phase will, if you turn it up, it'll spread out the range. So you'll have one voice starting here, one voice starting here, 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 all over the place basically at 100%. If you have it at 0, they'll all start at the same point. And if you have detune, that's basically what creates the cascading effect, the phase cancellation of all the 9 voices interacting with each other. That's the cascading effect, meow kind of thing. I know, I'm really good at imitating sound design. You don't have to tell me. Unison envelope variation. This will control the, a few of them. Frick. The cutoff, resonance, and volume envelopes. So there'll be more variation in a few parameters. So this will be lots of variation, no variation. Let me see. It's because I'm being dumb. Yeah, it's attack, decay of the filter cutoff, resonance, and volume. I have the manual ready in case of emergencies, guys. Don't laugh at me. I barely ever use that. I doubt you will too, but hey. It's there. Okay. That was embarrassing. Okay. The mod tab. So these are your 2 macros. Sytrus only has 2. Most synths have a lot more, but Sytrus only has 2. So you just gotta deal with what you have. These are the individual controls for each macro. You can move them around in here, but you can't right click on them. You can right click on the knobs, but not in this grid. Smoothing, if you have very sharp movements, like it will take away the sharp changes in direction, I guess. Usually I have smoothing off, especially because a lot of automations tend to have some rough edges, so this will, in a way, it'll make your modulations less accurate. You can have it on. It's a matter of preference, really. On to the EQ section. So this is a global EQ for Sytrus. You have 3 bands. It's pretty basic. You can change the type of EQ. You have your peaking filters, and your low shelf, which will turn all the frequencies a certain level to the lower side, and on the right, you'll have your high shelf. So it'll change all the frequencies that are higher than the cutoff point. Yeah. Low shelf, lower than the cutoff point. High shelf, higher than the cutoff point. There we go. I can use words, guys. I promise. You can change the frequency, so the location of each band here. Change the type of band up here in these icons, I guess. Change the gain, so this is off. It's taking the frequencies around that area down, and this will change how wide the bandwidth is. So you'll have very wide, very steep, I believe. Yeah, it's opposite for some reason. Quality. So over here right now, what it's saying is, if I render out the sound, whatever sound this instance of Sytrus makes, it'll have high quality envelopes on and 8 times oversampling on. But as we're using it right now, they're both off. So if you turn these two on, you'll have right now high quality envelopes on, and you'll have 64 times oversampling. But when you render it out, you'll only have 8. So you're going to be using a lot of CPU right now. And like, honestly, I don't use that much oversampling. I don't know anyone who does. Again, you can use 64 oversampling if you think it sounds nice. Whatever, guys. I don't care. Random. So this will allow you to edit. This will give you randomness in these graphs. So every time you hit a note in here, it'll be a different amount of modulation from whatever's modulating this operator. If this is off, there will be no randomness. These graphs won't have any effect. Might as well just have them off. Mono key, so one voice per key. You'll still have unison, but you can only play one note at a time, if that makes any sense. Global pitch, so all the operators will follow the pitch articulators of operator 1. So if operator 1 has this standard envelope on its pitch, all the other ones will follow it, even if their envelopes aren't on. Same with the other ones, I think. LFO and so on. Centering will remove DC offset. So if you have something like this, this is all DC offset. It's going to bring this down to the center. You're not going to have any sound, but this is basically DC offset. Your sound is offset from the center, which is, the center is no amplitude, right? Gibbs off. So basically, Gibbs off will take away the sharp points in your sound. If you can remove the Gibbs phenomenon from the oscillator tab as well, it helps with sound design sometimes. And portamento, I'm going over that in another video, because portamento in Sytrus absolutely sucks. Pro tip for FL Studio users: go into the MISC tab in channel settings, and you can turn on porta here, and you can change how far it is. It's way easier and faster than it is in Sytrus. I used to use portamento in Sytrus, but I just go here now because it's just easier. And then I can do other stuff with the pitch LFOs inside Sytrus, because you need the pitch LFO, pitch envelopes in Sytrus to do portamento. Whereas I could just have portamento here, and then I could have my operators doing something completely different in the pitch envelope tab. It's up to you. I don't like it, but I'm going to go over it in a later video because it's dumb. But hey, I didn't make the synth, so I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, that's gonna do it for this video, I think. See ya.